making today? I'm making a bucket hat. Why? I just feel like it. If you remembered, I made this. The colors are orange and white. So can you kind of guess what this bucket hat colors are gonna be? The exact same colors. The exact same colors. Different yarn, okay? Because remember how I said this was a little old and I don't want to do it again. It's different yarn. But here's the thing. When I was thinking about making a bucket hat, I'm like, what colors do I want this bucket hat to be? First off, I want it to be a checkered pattern. I haven't crocheted a checkered pattern in so long. I'm like, let's do it. Let's see how this goes. And I'm like, what colors do I want? Well, I want an off-white, because I think that's a nice color. And I also want an orange. And let me tell you, when I had this idea, I was crocheting this, but I was not thinking at all. Nowhere in my mind was like, I'm gonna match a hat to this. I'm gonna pick the same colors as this. Nowhere, okay? This bucket hat was its own idea, and I think it was subconscious in my head, because I was thinking, maybe do I wanna make a purple, green, pink, yellow, orange, just orange. It might seem silly, but nowhere in my head did I think that I was gonna pick the exact same colors as this. I even went to the store, I went to the Creative Knitter to get this yarn. It is the Lions brand 24/7 cotton yarn. And I was looking through all the yarns and I'm like, oh, these look the best. And then I got home and I looked over at the yarn and I'm like, did I just buy the exact same colors as my current project? We're just gonna roll with it because orange, well, it's like an orangey yellow is my favorite color, so it's fun. And to be quite fair, the orange I wanted, I think I wanted it to be a little bit more pastel, but this is the brand I wanted, and this was the only orange that I think looked great with this. There was this other one that was like, it was this browny yellow, but it just wasn't the thing. So we're gonna make a bucket hat with these two colors. This color here is called Ecru and Tangerine. I just made this. I spent 2 weeks making this and I kind of just wanted a simple project, so maybe I can get back in here and start decorating the rest of it, you know? So I wanted like a little easy project. Now I'm saying this, is it gonna be easy? I don't know. Also, if you're new to my channel and you like crocheting, why not hit that subscribe button? Would really appreciate it. But anyways, it's gonna be a bucket hat. I think I'm gonna make the top of the hat in a circle, and then I'm gonna make the side, and then I'm gonna make the brim. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I know I want it to be more structured, and because it has to be more structured, that's why I picked a cotton yarn and not this yarn. Obviously not this yarn. Don't make a hat with bamboo yarn. I mean, unless it's a beanie maybe, but like I don't think a structured hat unless you use like a really tiny hook. But anyways, I digress. But I have used the 24/7 cotton before and I really like how it crochets, so I'm really excited to do that. I did make a hat last year and I guess it's a redemption for that hat. This shirt was a redemption from the shirt I had made last year, but when I had made that shirt last year, I also had made a bucket hat. So this is the redemption to that bucket hat. It just happens to be the exact same colors. I'm just making another matching set. So let's make this bucket hat happen. I wound up my yarn. I hope this is enough to make a hat. Julia did tell me that this would be enough, and if it's not enough, I'm gonna have to get more, but I don't mind. I think it's gonna be enough though. I hope so. I should probably say I'm not using a pattern. I'm just trying to make it up in my head. I think I have a clear idea. I think I have a vision. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. We'll just have to play around and see how it goes. I started off with a magic circle. This is like going to be the top of the hat. It's going to be a circle. I'm going to have to swap between the off-white and the orange and just keep doing that until I get as big as I want the hat to be. So I don't know how long that's going to be though. I was originally going to do like 3 and 3, like 3, 3, but I think I want to do 4. I think 4 would be better. I kind of got the hang of it, which is great. Sometimes when you do the circles, you have to put like a little thing to remind you. What is that word, Totoro? You don't know either? Stitch marker. Totoro, it's a stitch marker. But when I'm swapping colors, it's really easy to tell where I started and where I left off. I don't really need a stitch marker right now. I think I'm going to take it apart. This is what it's looking like on the back. This is a hat. I don't care. Maybe I'll put a lining in. Probably not. I'm just going to take it apart. Literally, this took me 5 minutes. Maybe not 5 minutes. Maybe a bit more than 5 minutes, but not very long. Yeah, just going to take this apart. I put this project on hold for an entire week because I decided that I wanted to do some summer ween projects. And by the way, they turned out amazing and I love them so much. Back onto my first project that should have been done, but it's not because I'm doing it now. This is it. This is where I left off. That's also the inside. It looks like a spider web. What I ended up doing is I just went a few rows because I don't know how big this is gonna be. I think I might have to take like these rows off and go back to here. I'm actually gonna take the whole thing apart, because what I forgot is when I do a checkerboard pattern, I always do a half double or a double crochet. I never do a single crochet. And so I think that's the problem. I'm just not really in love with how this is looking right now. Or maybe it's fine. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Okay, Totoro, so I want to show y'all how far I've gotten today with doing the half double. I've like sped this process up so much, right, Totoro? Right? Because where I left off is I was just on the second checkerboard thing, but now I'm already on the third one. I forgot to mention this, but also I've decided to change it up from 4 of each color to 5 of each color. So there's 10 squares per row, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The only thing is, I don't know how far to go. I also do not want this hat to be like a rounded hat, kind of like the tulipy looking bucket hat that I made in my last video. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go 1 or 2 more rows, and then I'm going to tie it off. And then for the sides of the hat, I'm actually just going to do like a big panel and then sew it together. And then I think I'm going to do the brim of the hat on that panel. It's going actually really easy right now. We'll see. I've left things to the last minute again. It's Wednesday. I probably should have had this hat done today. And here I am. Again, I have to remind myself it's a hat. It's just a hat. It'll be fine. I'm not making a sweater. I'm not making a vest. I'm not making a bag. I'm making a hat. But this is also the first time I've ever made this type of hat. So like, I don't know what I'm doing because I'm not using a pattern. I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. I've made plenty of checkered things. Feel like I know what I'm doing, but also I feel like I don't know what I'm doing at all. I think the top of the hat is done. I can't actually, also this is a hat that I bought that I really like, and I'm kind of using this as reference to make this. Anyways, I had to make the top first because if I were to make the sides, I don't know how big to make each square. You know what I mean? I need to know this part here because what I'm gonna do is when it's the side, I'm gonna do the checkerboard pattern the same with this. So I think this is big enough. It's a little bit bigger than this one, and this one fits pretty good. So I think that's gonna look okay. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna cut the yarn. I'm gonna leave that as is. Because I feel like if I were to do any more, like I feel like 1 or 2 more rows would be nice to get the nice shape I want, but don't want this hat to be too big. If you watched my last video, remember how many times I had to take that apart? Highly suggest do a half double crochet because the single crochet was taking me like forever to do and it just wasn't giving me the pattern I wanted. The half double is great. What I ended up doing is instead of doing like a big long strip of going back and forth and back and forth, I'm just gonna go in a circle, and then that's less tying and weaving in ends and sewing together. And I think I might do 1 or 2 checkers. We'll see how it looks. I'm coming into a little bit of a problem, and I don't know if you can see it as well. They're slanted. They're slanted. They're all slanted. Is it because I'm going around and around and around in a circle? I was trying to do something good. I don't know if it will correct itself when I attach it together. Like, I don't know if I should take it apart and redo it. I'm gonna think about it, and then I'll come up with a decision. So I put it on my head just like this, just to see. You know, honestly, I don't know. I don't think it's too bad. Where's the other part? The top part of this. So this will go that, right? I don't know now. It's like that's gonna go like this. It's gonna be like higher up. So I know I'm gonna have to do 2 rows of these. A full of orange and like a white here, right? I don't know if I want to take it apart now. I don't know. What I've decided to do is not take it apart, but also I discovered something new that I didn't know before. Everyone else probably knows what it is, but I didn't. What I didn't realize is when you do like a regular crochet where you're going back and forth and back and forth, you're evening out those rows. So when you're going this way, the crochet stitch is kind of maybe leaning a little bit to the right, but on your way back, it's going to lean a little bit to the left. It's going to balance itself back out so it's a perfect line. When you're going around and around and around, you're not going back and forth. What's ended up happening is because you're not going back and you're not straightening out that stitch, going forward, so it's leaning a little bit to the right, a little bit more to the right, a little bit more to the right, a little bit more to the right, and then next thing you know, you have this angle going on. So like over here, you can kind of see that kind of shape going on. It's fine. What I ended up doing is instead of ending the white when the last row white ended, I moved it over 1. So I ended the white on top of an orange. Instead of ending the white like on this stitch, I ended the white on this stitch, which means then I would and the orange on a white stitch. So that way it's evening itself back out. So I think when you're doing something like this, you have to make that adjustment every single row, because you can see like row 1, it looked normal, but then row 2 is off, row 3 is off, row 4 is off. By the time I got to the 5th row, you can see that, but as you saw in the 6th row right here, I moved it over a bit. You can kind of see how that looks right there, right? Here, I'll just kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about. Right here is when I would switch back over to the orange, but I'm doing one more half double in this orange stitch, and now I'm switching over to the orange. And then I'm gonna keep doing that. I kind of hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head, and I really like it. The only problem is that I know when I get here, I'm gonna have to change the colors. And will that throw all my equation out the window? I don't know. It's also not an equation, but whatever. I just didn't want to take it apart because it's a hat and I feel like it's gonna warp anyways on my head. So we're just gonna leave it. Yeah, I think that is working out pretty good. So I'm just gonna keep doing this, and then hopefully the second row will be just as good or better. Hopefully it'll be better. Do you see the difference between that and that? Well, I figured it out. I'm just not gonna redo it because I just don't feel like it. But anyways, going over one every time I start the new color, and look at how nice and straight those lines are. Do you see the difference? Even though, like, you know, that ended up happening, I learned a new technique that I never had to do before, so that's honestly great. And now I'll know for future projects, so then this doesn't happen to me anymore, and that will happen because I'll know what I'm doing. Pin the top to this. Don't know if I want to go any lower because, like, again, the bucket hat, like, I don't want the hat, like, here's the thing. Here's my problem right now is that I'm treating this hat like a beanie or like a winter hat where, you know, it comes down to here, but I'm forgetting the brim has to come out to like here. So I can't go too far down. So I think that this is actually like pretty good length down. So now I'm going to start working on the brim part. I don't know. Maybe I'll do one more row. Maybe I'll do one more row. I don't know. I finished the side of the hat. Also, like, look at how nice and square that is. Okay, that is because I did that little trick where I went over one, right? Because we got like these weird angles, but look how nice that is. You wouldn't have to do that if you're going back and forth, but because, you know, the way I was doing it, around, look at how nice it is. I wish I kind of took these apart, but also I really don't. I don't. Here's the thing. I had this pinned to here, just like, you know, I was going to sew it up. I wasn't going to unpin it. The problem that I just encountered, and now I got to take a row off, and I'm tired. So I'm going to take it off, but I'm going to finish tomorrow. I kept forgetting where, like, I started. Like, I have a clip. This clip was supposed to stay where it is, but I kept taking it off. I'm like, I'll put it back when I get to the next row. And then I forgot. I forgot to do that. And what ended up happening is that I kept getting confused if this string here was the start or this string was the start, because this string was actually like over here. And so I kept looking at it and I messed up. What should have happened is right here is where I needed to start the next row of doing 3 half double crochets and then 2 half doubles in the same stitch and then 3 and then 2 half doubles in the same stitch. I ended up starting it over here. And this run here is the last one before it starts over again, before the pattern starts over again. No, over here is where, see, I'm already so confused. I am going to have to take it apart and I'm going to finish it tomorrow. Last night when I decided to stop crocheting, I also didn't feel like untangling this yarn. I don't know if it's because it's cotton, it just sticks to each other. It just tangles itself. I'm going to have to undo this first, and then I can finish the hat. Okay, I'm just looking at it. I think that's where I'm going to stop. Maybe another row. I don't know. I think that looks actually pretty good. I think I might just stop there and put the top on now because the top is not on. So yeah. Also, I might block it. Maybe I'll do a little bit of blocking. I've never done that with a hat. We'll see. Hat is done. That's done. Obviously, it's not done because it's not attached yet. But that has to get attached. But I am going to flip it inside out. This is inside out. I'm also going to do it where it's the opposite. I just got to figure out where I start. I think I started here. I like gum. And I go to the Dollarama and I buy these XL gum packages that like opens up like this. And there's also the little opening here. But like I keep these because I'm like, one day I'll think of a good idea for them. Well, I did. I have these now. So this one's gonna have all of my like little attaching clips. I know I have more. I think they're in the camper actually, because I use them for the cat couch, but they're in here and I'll know where they are. And then this one here, I put the stitch markers, because here's the thing. When I put them in like a little zip bag or like my little like a little pouch or whatever, they're just jumbled up with everything else and I can never find them. Where here we go, I have this, and then eventually this one I'll put, I think maybe my yarn needles in once I empty it. Also, I've like gotten rid of so many of these containers because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. And then I had the idea. So I'm just going to attach all of them in a circle. I still have all this yarn left. For some reason, I thought I was gonna run out. I didn't. And then with a yarn needle, I prefer the metal one. And sew this bad boy up. Really quick, this is what the hat looks like before I steam it, and I'm gonna steam it and we'll see if anything happens. I put a towel in the top of the hat and I'm putting this straight, and then I'm going to just steam it and then pin it and then leave it overnight. Did flatten it. I'm going to just pin it and then hopefully it remains its shape. Also, like I noticed that like those ones look all great, and then when I come to these two look really, really small. Yeah, it's fine. I'm done it. Let the hat sit overnight, and now I'm going to take the pins out. I don't think I have a place to put the pins. I'm just gonna take the pins out. Hat is now done. I do think that steaming it definitely helped a little bit. Like it didn't make it perfectly straight. Like it's the yarn. If I would have maybe used a smaller hook and maybe like a tighter tension, maybe it would have been the peak or like the brim might have been a little bit more stiff, but honestly, I'm fine with it. Okay, I feel like it's still floppy. Like it's still floppy. Like what are you gonna do? But I feel like it's not as floppy. It's still floppy, but not floppy. But like look how it's super cute. It's cute. I do like it. Like look how like adorable it is. It is pretty gosh darn cute. I forgot my little book that tells me everything I did in the house, and it's too hot for me to get it. So I'm just gonna try to remember what I said or what I wrote. I believe this took me about 8 hours to do. I did have to take it apart a few times. I had to take it majorly apart once and start from the beginning, and then I had to like sometimes take a row or two because I just kind of messed up. But overall, I think this hat is really cute. I do like the floppiness of it, and I'm actually really glad that like this part here, I didn't make it any longer or any shorter. I think if it would have went any longer, then this would have been like down here. That way like I can still have it sitting back on my head and be able to see out of it, right? I think the yarn choice was actually a pretty good choice. I think it's a pretty good choice for this hat because it is cotton, so it's not too heavy and it's not too light. I feel like, again, if you were to go with like a lighter yarn like that bamboo yarn, it wouldn't sit right. I also think that if you were to go with the sugar and cream yarn, it might have been a little bit too heavy. I don't know. It could work with the sugar and cream. I didn't do that. I went with this. Maybe one day I'll redo it with the sugar and cream and see if it works out. But you know how I feel about that yarn. The one bag I did like that in my last video, that one turned out good because it was all double crochets and they were all spaced apart, so it was easy to work with. But like a tight stitch like this, I just don't think it would work for me. So let me just show you the inside of the hat. So this is the inside, and what I ended up doing on the top and on the sides, because I know no one's gonna see those, I just kind of carried the yarn behind like tapestry, and I was fine with that. And then at the bottom, I actually like hid the yarn in between every stitch. So like if you look at the white, you can kind of see the orange peeking through, and you can kind of see the white peeking through the orange. And like, I'm okay with that because when I wear it and like you'll see underneath the brim, I didn't want to see all of these lines. So I can live with that. I think it actually looks pretty cute just like this. I also feel like I probably could have done a tighter stitch with the brim so that way maybe it wouldn't be so floppy. It's fine. The hat is done. It took me 8 hours. I think it took me 8 hours. And like here's the top of it. I feel like this looks more like a pinwheel. And then as you can see here, how I messed up this the top squares here. I did correct it on the bottom squares, and I feel like that technique really helps. So if you've ever had that problem, maybe you know what to do now, because I had that problem and I didn't know what to do until I just kind of like troubleshooted it and just figured it out. But I think it does look really good. The other thing that I did notice is back here, these two squares are smaller than which squares? I don't know, there's like a square, there's some squares that just are smaller than the rest. These two squares, I don't know how that happened, but they're just smaller than the rest of the squares. Oops. Where's the back? And how I decide where the front and the back is wherever I ended the brim of the hat and I tied it off, which is right here. I just make that the back of the hat, so you know it's not in my face. Pretty cute for my first attempt at a checkerboard bucket hat. I think this hat is way better than the first hat that I had made, not the Halloween one, the Hobie one. Much better. I don't think I've ever worn the Hobie one. I just didn't like how it fit. This one fits great, and I also just have this one as a reference. So this is that bucket hat I made last time that was more curved. So this one here was just all one piece, whereas this was one piece, and then this was the second piece, and then it went into the brim. This is just all one piece, and so it kind of has that rounded shape, whereas this one, I mean, it's round because it fits on my head, but I'm just going to show you the difference. So like there's this one here which more looks like a tulip hat from an Animal Crossing character. Maybe even steam these because they're acrylic, so maybe it would hold the steam better. But I do like, I like the ridges on this one. This one's really cute. Again, where's the end? Why do I do this to myself? I take it off and then I just forget. There we go. Overall, I think I give this hat, let's say a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10 because I think it's really good for me not using a pattern and just kind of making it up as I went along. I feel like maybe the yarn, I should have used a smaller hook so it would have been a little bit more tighter. Also like right here, kind of wish I'd figured that out beforehand. Again, if I was just doing one long panel and going back and forth, that wouldn't have been a problem, and that's what I normally do when I make checkerboard things. But because I was going around, each stitch was just kind of getting unaligned. But overall, the fit is great. It feels great. It's not heavy on my head. I can see out. It might not look like I can see, but I can see. Yeah, I think I might have like 1 or 2 more summer projects in me, and then I'm gonna get ready for fall. Here's the thing, if you want to wear fall things in the fall, you gotta start in the summertime. Otherwise they'll be done for Christmas and fall will be over and then I'll be sad. Yeah, I think that does it for this video. Y'all have a good day now.